Hey there folks, welcome back. It's Jedimanda here. We're doing another part for the Clea Strange build. This is part 3. Now what I'll be covering in this particular tutorial is we will be building the bracers, finishing the undershirt, and also doing the skirt portion. And I think that's where I stop because there's a lot of details that I have to put in the skirt, which you guys will obviously come through and follow me on. So this one is another long one, but there's a lot of stuff I go through in here. So right now I am cutting up strips for the bracers. Now these bracers for some reason just give me fits, but you'll find out a little bit more. We'll get into it. This is kind of like an intro to this video. I just want to tell you what's going on. So for this video, like I said, bracers, undershirt, and skirt. Yeah. Now let's get into it. Okay, so for now, I think I'm going to try to set the grommets on the Clea bodice, except I ordered the wrong sizes. You know, it wouldn't be a Jedimanda costume if it wasn't one mistake, right? So I was measuring, and this is an FYI for anybody getting grommets for corsets, bodices, whatever. When you're measuring how big you need the grommet, measure the hole, not the grommet itself. Or no, measure the grommet itself, not the hole. As you can see, here's where I went wrong. So I got 1/2-inch grommets. They're gigantic. So the 1/2-inch is, I believe, the opening. Yeah, the opening of the grommet, not the grommet itself. The grommet itself is 3/4 of an inch wide. So, you know, it'll work. It's just gonna look funny and not the size of grommets I want. The worst part about this is when I ordered all of these, really cheap online by the way, Amazon, it's almost cruel, they didn't come with a setter. So I hope I can figure this out and try to set them, because I don't have a setter this big, setter component. It's buried in here. Methinks new, so I'm gonna see what I can do. If not, I'm gonna go to Joann's and get a smaller size to be able to fit my setters that I have. But these are just too big. They're really, really big. Honestly, they'll be fine. We're gonna try to use them, so I'm tired of buying stuff for this outfit, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so tried setting a grommet into a scrap piece of paper, leather. It did not work. None of my setting tools are the right size. Not even my size, what are these called? Leather hole maker, hole punchers, whatever. Comment in the sections below what these are officially called, but these weren't even the right size I needed for those, so. Wow, okay. Looks like a trip to Joann's is in the future for me because I don't have enough regular grommets to go through. So I'm going to go and get the old size grommets for Clea. That's okay. Might as well just go ahead and mark the holes, get it prepped. And that's the first thing. Actually, I won't be going tomorrow. Saturday morning. I'll go Saturday morning. Today's Thursday. So since we can't do that, I'm gonna move on to the gauntlets. The gauntlets don't look too tough. They look like they're just pieces of leather that are crisscrossed together, kind of reminiscent of Dr. Strange's gauntlets. Gauntlets, bracers, the things that go right here. So I'm gonna make some sketches, use some scrap leather and layer, and hopefully put those together. I don't think they're gonna be too tough. And at least I hope not. So let's put those together now. All right, voiceover Amanda back. So let's go over what I did for the bracers. Now these bracers for some reason just give me the worst fits. This costume, as I'm recording this voiceover, the costume is actually complete and I've worn it already to DragonCon. And I know now that these bracers just want to fall down constantly. So I think with them going to edit them a little bit and probably sew them down to the undershirt or put in some stiffener or make some like legit bracers with a backing.
For some reason, this lattice look that I have made for them, which is all the information we have for it, works out visually, but not really functionally. They just kind of fall down because they don't have a lot of structure to them. So if you're at this stage and making these bracers at this lattice point that I'm doing, put some like plastic boning behind some of them or on the strips where the closures are. That'll help it stay up a little bit and also just not fall down every 5 seconds like they do when they're on you. But pretty simple. I just laid out a pattern on some white paper and then kind of just layered the strips in a lattice form over top of each other and just sewed them down top stitching wise. Very simple how to make your bracers. Just take the measurement of your upper arm and the lower part of the bracer, make a trapezoid pattern, and boom, you got your pattern. So right here I am marking the spots where I'm going to take my owl and press into. So this will be my closures. It's going to be like a corseting kind of closure with a ribbon. Really simple, making holes with my leather punch through the leather. And this was leather scraps that I had to work with because I don't know if I've said yet, but I use the entire skin of leather for this whole outfit. It is nuts. But I ended up just making really simple ones, and I think I liked how they looked. They just need a little bit more finesse now.
Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up tonight. My camera is almost out of battery, so I'm out of focus. I made the bracers. Well, very basic bracers. They are, as you saw in the video, strips of leather overlapped. For what I can tell from the images we have, this is the base. There's little pieces that go on it too that are very similar to like that jewel on her belt, but I'm gonna have to make those separately, and that might be something that I just might not be able to make for these just for the sake of time for Dragon Con. So what I was saying was that the little jewels that are gonna be on these bracers that are similar to her belt, I'll add later. I think right now I have 2 weeks to finish this outfit, which I think I can, but it's just not going to be as refined as I want it because I have other things to do as well. So I'm happy with them. I think they look really cool, especially on top of the sleeves that are drying over there that do look actually pretty neat. I'll show you those when they're fully dry and ready to lift it off of the boards that they're on. But we have bracers, simple little guys. Really happy to cross that off my list. Okay, so I can't work on Clea tomorrow. For Saturday, I will attach and finish the shirt. Put that underneath the bodice to make sure all that looks good. I will have new grommets by then, put the grommets with the bodice. So I think the full top plus bracers will be done. Fantastic, this is great. And then belt. Belt is the next big one. I'm gonna have to pattern I have an extra half of my body laying over there. Maybe I'll try to work that. It'll be leather on top of leather on top of leather because that just lays really nice and I have a ton of it left. So it'll be that, and then I might have to 3D print or make out of foam that jewel thing. I know I haven't really looked at it really a whole lot what it looks like, but now I can kind of hone in on that belt area and the little skirt drape too, because she does have a little skirt drape, and that'll be out of the rest of the leather. Hopefully my leggings will get here next week, hopefully. So we'll see. Stay tuned for Saturday, and then that'll be it for this part of the vlog. Woo! We've gotten a lot done. We're booking. Yeah. Damn. Hi everyone. It's Saturday of I think this is going to be part 2. I think I'm going to include this in part 2. Yeah, we're moving along on Clea, so this is what we're going to do today. So we are going to, I fixed the grommet issue. Actually, I just got eyelets. I have a ton of them. I need to use them, and I just got more silver ones. And honestly, they're so much faster to set because I have the little clampy thingy, and then I got an awesome leather hole puncher now. So we're just gonna do eyelets, and I pray for the person who's gonna have to put me in this outfit, which was most likely going to be either Casey or Alex or Jenna or Michelle over Dragon Con. It's just gonna have a lot of eyelets. So we're going to do that right now. are going to mark the center back, making sure I have a good spot for all the eyelets and having like a nice gap back here so I can pull it tight, you know, because, you know, things. But look how nice that looks. Like, the best part about this bodice is that I don't have to finish the edges because A, it's leather and all of it will be covered up by something. And so the edges of the neckline, I just fray checked these little guys, cut that down to size. Did the same over here to the armhole. That looks nice. No hemming needs to be done to that. And the hem down here is going to be underneath the belt. So I'm really not too worried about it. But man, it looks nice. So we're going to get this whole bodice done with rivets and eyelets. Ugh. I'm gonna get that done, and then I'm gonna work on the sleeves. They're down over there on the floor. They turned out great. They do feel a little homespun with the puffy paint, but you know, those circles, they look fine, especially from far away. If you're up close looking at them, you'll see some mistakes, but hi, I'm not Marvel, and this is not for a movie. I am just a cosplayer having a good time, so if you say something about that. But I do think that fashion liner pen worked really well. The purple and the pink came out darker, which is what I thought it was going to do. And it just looks really nice. So I think I might get a couple colors of this fashion liner and start using these for when I need something screen printed on fabric and I don't have the time or the funds to just be able to draw it out with these and draw it over. It looks really nice. Here, I'll show you. So, it's hard to tell, but here, I'll tilt it down. There we go. So the darker circles are that fashion liner pen and the lighter circles are obviously the puffy paint. But if you look up close, they kind of look like they're screen printed on. There's no raised texture on these guys. There is obviously on this one because it's puff paint, but I'm actually pretty happy with how they look. And I wanted them to look darker because that's what her sleeves look like in general. But I'm not gonna add any more. We're done with the sleeves. I'm gonna attach it to its little shirt, little tiny shirt. I might, honestly, I don't know if I'll end up using this. I might end up cutting the shirt out of a darker fabric because I have a feeling this might peek through my bodice, but we'll see where it lines up. If not, this is super simple. I can just take a pattern of it and recut it into some black spandex or the actual fabric that was the sleeve fabric. I don't know why I did that before. I just had this laying out right here, so I was just like, we'll use it. Whatever. All right, so eyelets today, shirt little thing. Goal is to pattern the belt area and get that going because that's going to take a hot sec because it's got lots of layers. And then once that is done, I have some mold making to do. Freaking mold making, we're back again, but it's only for those little gems for her belt buckle and behind on her cape. There's two gems that kind of are at the top, and I have some, hopefully it's still good, silicone putty, and I just need little gems. I'm hoping these are going to be easy to make. If not, we'll figure out another way. And I have UV resin that we can work with. So yeah, hopefully that'll be good. That's the goals today. If everything gets done, we'll reconfigure the goals for tomorrow, but she's moving along great. I think I really will get this done by DragonCon. I am very, very hopeful that we're gonna get it done, and this is fantastic. I can't believe I've moved this quickly on her. I mean, this thing has been, I think this whole build, if I get it done in the time frame that I need it to, will have taken me 1 month, which is insanity for a Marvel build. But honestly, she wasn't too difficult. If I didn't have the fabrics that I've purchased and the leggings that I've purchased, and was able to move quickly on the patterning and everything else, but wild world. All right, let's get to going.
It's grommet setting time. Literally my least favorite thing to do with any costume. I don't know why. Oh wait, because it takes forever and I'm usually working through leather and it's very painful on my hands and joints. So that's why I don't like it. However, I ended up couldn't use the grommets because they were, too big. So I ended up using my eyelets that I had in storage, which, yeah, they're fine. They're not my favorite grommet type to use, but they ended up working out just fine. I would recommend putting boning into this back area for the closure. for the bodice because that keeps it nice and stiff. And I will go ahead and just put this out there, and I'll probably talk about it in the next video. After I wore this outfit to DragonCon and got a good wear in it, I need to put boning in this bodice pretty much everywhere. It was wrinkling up a little bit in the front, under the breast area, and I think putting boning in is needed. So I'm going to do that next. I think I'll make a wrap-up video after these parts of tutorials that you'll see while making Clea, to just kind of go over the pros and cons of this outfit, which there's a lot of pros. I love this outfit. It turned out so good. Anyways, I'm getting off track of voiceover, Amanda. Come back. We're talking about making it, not wearing it. Yeah, it's for a different video. So here I am, just marking the spots where I'm going to be having the closures. Yes, and it's not a straight line because my back is not a straight line. So I have a larger upper back and a smaller lower back. And so that's why it's curved, if any of you guys are curious about that. But follow this chaos and put in your own grommets for yourself for Miss Clea here. We're getting into the undershirt. I'm going ahead and lifting off that blue painter's tape around the edges of the sleeve. Now, I did have these dried over 24 to 36 hours. Do not at all move these sleeves if you do it this method. You have to wait till they're completely dry because it'll be a freaking mess if you start lifting the painter's tape and they're not dry. But it turned out pretty great, honestly. I love the way these looked. It is a little homespun, I'm not gonna lie. I think with the puffy paint could be a little neater, but hey, this is cosplay, guys, so we're having a good time here. We're having a good time. I think it turned out just fine for fabric that I would have had to have been printed, to be honest. So I'm removing the edges tape, and now I'm going to sew up the sleeves like a regular sleeve and inset it to the little shirt we made in the last video. Very simple, inset sleeves, and call it a day. You really don't have to do a lot of finishing for this outfit because everything is under everything, which is kind of nice.
So here's a little undershirt. Scoot down so you see it. Works out great. Boop. Church. Church. I think the sleeves are pretty dope. Not too bad. The only thing I'm worried is that the pink is going to show through, so I'm going to put the bodice on and see what it looks like. Okay, so nothing is tightened, but it's a mess back here with all, I can't. This is the bonus, you know, the fun part about living alone and doing cosplay on your own. It's hard to put yourself into things. But as you can see, it does peak a little bit over here, but you know what, that's fine because our armor piece comes over it and I can't zip it. But there, so just like, look at this hat. It's very much not tight on me, but hey, this is awesome. This looks fantastic. Oh, I love a good first fitting. This is like a tiny first. It's like a soft first, like a soft opening, like an exhibition. But hey, looky here. It's sort of kind of odd, and everything looks like it's working out, matching, looking good. Dope. I'm so excited about this outfit, you guys. I love Clea Strange so much. She's been my favorite character for a long time in the comic books, and to finally have her in the MCU is superb. And with Charlize Theron, like, could it be any better of casting? Oh, ha. And I just love how much mobility I have because I did not attach this to this. Past Amanda, we've learned to make two pieces. Yes. Yay!
All right, we are back making patterns once more. This time it's for the skirt part of Clea, which is kind of a belt with a little drape in the back. I'm calling it a skirt. It's kind of like a half skirt, but we are back on the mannequin doing another pattern. I am saran wrapping my bottom half of my mannequin and I'm going to duct tape it down because I need to draw out this pattern for the belt area. And this method works perfectly. I love doing this method. You do go through a lot of plastic saran wrap and duct tape, I will say, but it actually works perfectly if you are a mannequin or if you do it on yourself to be able to get that exact measurement and the exact pattern that you want and look of the belt. Once again, for Clea, there's not a whole lot of imagery out there, so I had to make up some things, but use your own creative ways to make this work for you. But I think that it worked great. Just duct taping me up, and then I'm getting ready to draw on the pattern. jumping in a little bit right here to talk about this glue that I'm using. It's actually a glue called Leather Weld, and is the only glue I use for leather, and it is wonderful. Many of you are probably asking, Amanda, why didn't you sew this down? Mainly because I don't really freaking know. There isn't necessarily a seam line right here that I could tell on her skirt belt area, so I thought the glue was just a good choice to kind of lay it down, and if I wanted to put a seam line down later, I could, but I liked how this looked, and I was able to put it down quicker and get it to work for me, and I really like this glue. It works great with leather.
I have to come in here and why does this make me look so red? I don't know. But I found a rather cute thing through my local library. This is my mistake. I got my library card recently. Like, I'm an adult now. And I requested 2 items from the library, one being a physical book and the other one being an audiobook. Well, I read or I looked at it wrong how the audiobook was. I thought it was digital and through their app. Turns out it was not. And so when he handed me this, I was like, what in the world? So this is like a mini MP3 player, like from the day. I felt very retro by trying to find an actual pair of tethered headphones. Luckily, I found some, but when they gave it to me, I literally was like, I don't even know how to work this. How do you even work this? Oh, by the way, it's Agatha Christie and I'm listening to And Then There Were None. I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan. I love this. So I put a battery in this and turned it on, and it's a little MP3 player that I've been listening to all day, and I'm almost done with it, and I have enjoyed this thoroughly. If you guys... If I would include, but I'm not going to because I always take it out, the audio from all of these work in progress footage that you see, it's literally me going, oh no, oh I didn't think that, not the bees. Yes, insert Wicker Man gif here. But I just wanted to come in and tell you all that this has been fun, and to check out your local libraries as much as you can. You never know what they'll have. Even if you think I was happy I did not get the CD versions because that I wouldn't have been able to do. I have a very old CD player, but it requires like 18 D-cell battery, like just insane amount. And so I was given this little MP3 player with just a book on it, and I love it. Just had to come in there and here and tell you all this. It's been lovely. But I also have stopped the video to come and show you this bit of detail that I literally just found. Come over here. Come over here. Okay, so the back of Clea, I'm working on her little hip pads right here. As I found this pretty well-to-do picture of the screenshot of, the end of the movie, I was looking closely at her little hip pads right here, and ba-bang! There's detail. So, and then there's also like this back piece right here that I didn't know she had at all, of course, because we don't have any back pictures. But if I have extra leather, I'll put a piece back there for it, but right now I'm getting low on leather, and so I'm just gonna do the hip pieces in the skirt and call it a day. But I am going to take these hip pieces and mimic the circle details that I did on the front of the bodice, but basically just satin stitching these lines in. Yeah. It always goes to show to keep researching, and I have a Pinterest board that I've been working from to keep researching all as many images as you can. My cat just fell. When you are making these outfits. So, see, like this little GIF, you would not have been able to tell it unless you like stopped and played footage by footage. But thank you to whoever put that on here. Details now will ensue.
Okay, yeah. So these details now we're putting on the belt. I think I have the satin stitching that I ended up doing about 1/8 of an inch apart. So they are very, very close. That actually is 1/4 inch. My bad. So I just marked the first line and then used the edge of my sewing machine foot to to follow the line to make everything nice and even as I went and did this. So forewarn, if you are doing this the way I'm doing it, which is satin stitching, for those of you who don't know, satin stitching is a zigzag stitch on the machine, like you're seeing right here, that is a very close stitch length. So it looks like a big border of thread that you're making, like a big line of thread. I went through 4 to 5 Gutermann spools of thread to do all of this detailing on both sides of that belt skirt. This took so long, but I love the way it looks. There's a whole lot of small texture in this outfit, and I'm really happy I was able to bring it into the belt a little bit, because I do think it needed something, but it wasn't until the last minute that I saw this detail. So I'm really happy that I found it and I was able to add it in. Hopefully this is the way it looks. I don't know, but I really like it. Turned out great. Just make sure you buy a lot of thread for this part, like a lot. You'll need a lot. Oh yeah, don't forget to use your rollerball foot for your sewing machine if you choose to do that. So it works great for leather. Right here, right then, I was taking some fray check to the edges of those stitches so they didn't come out. So right now I am actually using some muslin and I'm draping the skirt portion of the belt skirt thing. Luckily, I had enough leather to be able to do this, but man, I was cutting it close. She has these pleats that are in it. I was fine with using it out of my leather, the last bit of leather I have, and I like the stiffness that it gave, but you might want to consider using another fabric if you just run out of the fabric. But I draped it using muslin, and then I was able to cut it out with it pretty much just looked like a little trapezoid with a pleat in the side. But make sure you make this pattern before you cut it out of your fabric, just as always, was very helpful.
Hello, folks. Okay. I'm going to give you an update on this insane 10-hour day that I worked on Clea. Man, we got a lot of stuff done. Holy cow. I'm not done yet tonight, but I am. My body is starting to tell me to stop, and I might listen to it like a good person should. If you hear people talking in the background, it's King of the Hill, and it's on downstairs, and I don't feel like going downstairs to turn it off for this video. Okay, so one of my biggest fears kind of came true with this build, but I think we turned it out and it's gonna be okay. But I can't buy anything else. We are running out of leather. I thought I bought too much. I bought a full skin of leather for this build, and it was very expensive, but I knew I was going to be using at least half of it at the time. And I was going to use the others for other leather projects that I have in my future, but now it turns out that we've used all of the bulk. And now I am down to scraps to finish some strips for the belt. I believe I will be able to find, and I'll be able to just hobble together some strips, because I'm not too worried if this is like one circle, you know, like it can be seamed together. It's okay. It's just strips of leather. But the skirt that I draped earlier in this video is on the floor, wet setting pleats in. It sounds really strange, but when you work with leather and you need to make things fold, or you're pressing images into them with like a stamp or anything, you need to wet the leather, and then it will act the way you want it to. So right now I had to put 2 pleats on the sides of the skirt part that's attached to the belt, so I sprayed it down with water, set the pleats, and put heavy books on top of them, and I'll check it back in a second. So now I'm going to cut up some strips of this leather that are 1 inch width, but just strips. I'm not even gonna measure how long the strips are gonna be, because those are gonna be the little crisscrossy things on her belt. The more I keep working on this belt, the more I'm realizing there's so much more to it than just what I see. It's taking way more time than I thought it would. But I believe we got it to a good spot. All that top stitching that I did took so long, and almost 4 full spools of Gutermann thread. 4. Wow. And I emptied out that color at Joann's. Like, I took all that I could, and it turns out I needed every bit of it. That was a lot of top stitching. So, yeah, we're gonna cut strips. I'm going to make molds with this wonderful mold putty that I have for the little belt buckles and little gems that she has on her outfit. I'm gonna make those molds tonight, hopefully, and they'll be ready by tomorrow to pour resin in to make those little pieces. So tomorrow is Sunday of this week, and also since I'm doing a kind of a mixture of vlog slash voiceover, I'm going through this build. We're not stopping. I'm not gonna be like, thank you for following, like and subscribe. We're just going, and then editing Amanda later will catch up on whatever I say at the end of these videos, because I just finished, I'm editing the second part of this series right now, and that video is turning out to be really long, so that's going to get cut up into parts. So you will see these consecutively, but also you'll see them later in the future. For those of you who are watching this video right now, I'm actually ahead of myself on videos and YouTube and stuff, which is nuts. But we're here, so I'm going to get to cutting these leather strips, making that mold, and calling it a night. My back hurts. And tomorrow will be painting day. I'll wake up bright and early. We'll paint the armor. We'll paint the little resin gems, and also do details, because I want to paint a lot of detail, make it not weather her up, but like give her a lot of dimension with some leather paints on the leather. I think it'll just make it stand out just that much more. All right, I'm done blabbing. Let's end the night.
Oof, yes indeed, that night was painful. I needed to end it. So just like I'm ending that night, I'm ending this vlog. This is the last shot of the strips that I was able to hobble together for her belt area. Luckily, I had enough just to be able to make that and make it look good. But thank you for following me on this part 3 of making Clea Strange. We will be back next Monday with part 4, and I believe that might be the final one, the final making of, and then I'll have a wrap-up video after it with me in the outfit, kind of going over the pros and cons. But thank you so much for following on this tutorial. It's been a blast making this thing. I love Clea Strange. She is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Marvel character of all time. Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, watch out. But until next time, please like and subscribe to my channel. I post cosplay tutorials every week. We chat cosplay things all the time here, and it's spooky season coming up, y'all, so you'll definitely want to subscribe to see what I got coming, because it's some cool stuff. All right, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.